In this session of complex analysis, we will discuss subtraction and division of complex numbers. We have already defined how to add complex numbers and how to multiply complex numbers. Now we will define the subtraction and division of complex numbers. So first we will define subtraction. Suppose Z1 and Z2 are two complex numbers. If Z2 is a complex number, it will have an additive inverse in the complex plane and we will denote it by minus Z2. So let minus Z2 be the additive inverse of Z2. We know how to add two complex numbers. So we will define the subtraction of complex numbers as Z1 minus Z2 is equal to Z1 plus minus of Z2. Means that subtraction of Z2 from Z1 is same as addition of Z1 and additive inverse of Z2. Now we will see one result. It's an already non-result. If two complex numbers are non-zero, so is their product. So if you multiply two non-zero complex numbers, you will get a non-zero complex number. Or in other words, if Z1 and Z2 are two complex numbers and Z1 into Z2, Z1 times Z2 is equal to 0, then either Z1 equal to 0 or Z2 equal to 0. Means at least one of Z1 and Z2 will be 0. So we will prove this. Suppose Z1 is non-zero. Then we have Z1 times Z2 equal to 0. So multiply both sides of this equation with Z1 inverse. Z1 inverse exists because Z1 is non-zero, and we know that for every non-zero complex number there exists a multiplicative inverse. So this Z1 inverse is nothing but the multiplicative inverse of Z1. Since Z1 is non-zero, it exists. So multiply both sides with Z1 inverse. So we will get Z1 inverse times Z1 times Z2 equal to Z1 inverse times 0, and this is same as 0 because we know that if you multiply any complex number with 0, you will get 0. Now in the right hand side we will apply associative property, so that we will get Z1 inverse times Z1 times Z2 equal to 0. Okay, now what is Z1 inverse times Z1? It is 1. Because Z1 inverse is the multiplicative inverse of Z1, so their product will be always 1. So this implies 1 times Z2 equal to 0, and which means Z2 equal to 0 because 1 is our multiplicative identity. So if the product of two complex numbers are 0, if one of them is non-zero, the other one will be 0. So it is clear that at least one of them should be 0. In the same way, you can prove that if Z2 not equal to 0, Z1 equal to 0. Then you have to multiply with Z2 inverse from right hand side. Now we will define division. Suppose Z1 and Z2 are two complex numbers and Z2 is non-zero. Then Z2 will have a multiplicative inverse and we will denote it by Z2 inverse, and we know that Z2 times Z2 inverse is equal to 1, and this is the same as Z2 inverse times Z2. Now we will define the division of complex numbers Z1 by Z2 as product of Z1 and Z2 inverse. As we have already defined how to multiply two complex numbers, the right hand side is well defined, and also Z2 not, since Z2 not equal to 0. So we will define the division of two complex numbers like this, provided the denominator is non-zero. So in rectangular coordinates, that means if I take Z1 as x1 plus iy1 and Z2 as x2 plus iy2, Z1 by Z2 is equal to Z1 times Z2 inverse So x1 plus iy1 times z2 inverse is this. We have seen this yesterday in the last class. So x2 by x2 square plus y2 square plus I times minus y2 divided by x2 square plus y2 square. So we know how to multiply two complex numbers, so that we will get z1 divided by z2 is equal to x1 x2 plus y1 y2 divided by x2 square plus y2 square. This is the real part of z1 by z2 plus I times y1 x2 minus x1 y2 divided by x2 square plus y2 square. So this is the imaginary part of z1 by z2. No need to by heart this formula, because we can to find the division of two complex numbers, we have another easy method. We will see it here. Suppose we want to find what is 4 plus I by 2 minus 3i. Then what you have to do is multiply the numerator and denominator with the conjugate of this complex number. That means 2 plus 3i. So this is same as 4 plus I times 2 plus 3i divided by 2 minus 3i times 2 plus 3i. So we know the formula. x1 x2 means 4 times 2 8 minus y1 y2 1 times 3, so 3 plus I times x1 y2, so 12 plus x2 y1 is 2. The whole divided by the same thing is we will do the same here. So x1 x2 4 plus not x1 x2 minus y1 y2, so minus 3 into 3, minus 3 times 3, so minus of minus will be plus 9 plus I times x1 y2 is 6 plus x2 y1 is minus 3 times 2 minus 6. So this is same as 8 minus 3 is 5 plus I times 14, the whole divided by 13 plus I 0, which is same as 13. So whenever you write a complex number, write it in the form x plus I times y, where both x and y are real numbers. So I will write this as 5 by 13 plus I times 14 by 13. So whenever we want to find the ratio of two complex numbers, it is enough to multiply the numerator and denominator with the conjugate of the denominator, and you can proceed like this. Whenever you multiply the numerator and denominator with the conjugate of denominator, the denominator will be a real number. Now we can easily verify using definitions that the multiplicative inverse of product of two complex numbers z1 z2 the whole inverse will be same as the product of multiplicative inverse of z1 and z2, means z1 inverse times z2 inverse. If we write z inverse as 1 by z inverse is nothing but 1 by z, we can write the same result as the reciprocal of z1 times z2 is equal to the product of reciprocals of 1 by z1 and 1 by z2. Using this we can prove that z1 divided by z3 times z2 divided by z4 is same as z1 z2 divided by z3 z4. All are expected results. There is nothing new in this. And we have seen binomial formula in the for real numbers. A plus b the whole power n is equal to etc., where a and b are real numbers. The same formula remains valid with complex numbers. That means if Z1 and Z2 are two complex numbers, then Z1 plus Z2 the whole power n will be Z1 power n plus n times Z1 power n minus 1 times Z2 plus n times n minus 1 divided by 2 Z1 power n minus 2 Z2 square plus etc. Z2 power n. So we can write this using summation symbol as summation k ranges from 0 to n nck Z1 raised to n minus k Z2 power k. Here by nck we mean n factorial divided by k factorial product with n minus k factorial, and here we are taking k equal to 0, so we are defining that 0 factorial is equal to 1. Okay, so there is nothing new in this session. Everything is an expected result. Every result we have seen are expected ones. So you do these problems as homework.